does baseball season return on opening day, or does baseball season return when it's a weekday night game? You stay up for a 3+ hour game that was over in the top of the first inning. I think that's the true sign that baseball has returned. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. Mariners lose this one tonight, 9-6 to the Detroit Tigers. They fall to 2-3 on the season. As always, before I go any further in the recap, do me a favor, hit the like button. You guys, again, are killing it with that. Thank you so much. Comment your thoughts on the game and the team down below. And don't forget to hit subscribe if you are new. About 20 subs now away from 4,400 would be great to hit that tomorrow. If you're still up at this time watching a post-game recap for a pretty boring, dreadful baseball game, then more power to you. So go ahead and hit that sub button for me. I hope you're all having a great evening. Very rare, something that happened tonight. It wasn't the offense that let the Mariners down. It was the pitching. It's very rare where we have games where the pitching was poor and the offense was actually pretty good. They could have been better with runners in scoring position. I think they were 1 for 9 or 1 for 10. I'll confirm that here just to be certain. They were 1 for 9. So they probably left a couple runs out there. But all in all, when you score 6 runs and when you give up 6 runs in the top half of the first inning, pretty fair who to blame for this one. And that falls actually not even really the pitching staff. This loss kind of falls on one person. Could be a pretty quick recap here. Emerson Hancock was bad, and that was the story of the game. And for that reason, I'm actually not that mad about the loss. I know that might make some people upset. I get it. 2-3, not where we wanted this team to start. Very disappointing homestand. Frustrating because on Wednesday, they're going to have to face Tarek Skubal. So to avoid 2-5, you're going to need Logan to pitch really well tomorrow and the bats to, be similar to what we saw tonight, get some long ball going and hit a little bit better with runners in scoring position. So I don't want to claim like, oh, it's fine. It stinks. They lost. But this is an easy fix, right? Like the only reason Emerson Hancock is on this roster is because George Kirby is going to miss a few starts. Now, shoulder, elbow with a pitcher, always concerning. Until George Kirby is back up on that mound, we shouldn't just be like, oh, well, Kirby's coming back, so whatever. We don't know. We want to see him back out there making those rehab starts and making that first start. But if things do go according to the timeline, I think 3 to 4 starts is all George Kirby is going to miss. So this one has an easy fix, right? Like if Kirby was going to be out for the year, or if they had traded a pitcher and Hancock was just slotted in as the number 5, then you'd have some concern. Then you'd be a little nervous. But he's not. He's going to be replaced here in a few weeks. So, and again, and I'm not trying to pick on the guy. I'm sure in fact, seems like a fantastic guy, Emerson Hancock. And anybody that's in the big leagues has worked extremely hard to get to that position. But man, it's rare, but this was kind of all on him. Like, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about Dan letting Rowdy Tellez have that at bat in the 5th. But yeah, this loss pretty much lies on Emerson Hancock. Not only does the loss lie on Emerson Hancock, they are probably going to have to make 2 roster moves tomorrow because of Emerson Hancock. Because you're going to need likely 2 new pitchers. The bullpen was taxed today. Vargas throws 3 2/3. Snyder goes 1 inning plus. Bizzardo throws 2 innings. Sauce goes more than an inning. So you are going to have to make at least 1 roster move tomorrow. And truthfully, it should be Emerson Hancock going down. Now, if you need to call him back up when you have the next start, fine. But in the meantime, he should be the one that takes the, bites the bullet for this team in this case. It might be Vargas, which is a shame because Vargas actually threw the ball really well tonight. And he'd have to be DFA'd. And that would kind of stink because the 3 2/3 that Carlos Vargas threw tonight, I think he earned himself a roster spot based on that. It would be kind of the ultimate irony that the guy works himself on the roster because they didn't want to lose him because he'd have to be DFA'd because he's out of options, that they end up losing him because he actually pitches really well and goes and pitches 3 2/3 and they have to DFA him to make a roster move. Kind of a sad irony there a little bit. But I would send Hancock down and bring him another bullpen arm. And then when you have to make that next turn in the rotation, then you can go from there. I know there'll be a lot of chatter. Should Logan Evans make the next start? To me, it really just depends on when Kirby's going to be ready. I think Evans might be the better long-term answer, but I still don't know. Like, listen, Hancock was dreadful. He's not 81 ERA bad. So, I mean, he's going to pitch better than that, obviously. So I don't know what you do. If you think Kirby's going to be back late April, early May, then I think you just ride it out. Maybe you skip the fifth starter once. I know they don't like doing that in April, but maybe that's something you could do. They do have enough off days here, and they even have a couple weeks where I think they have 2 off days in a week. So you might just be able to get away with a 4-man rotation here for a little bit, and that might be the best option. If they do think Kirby's going to miss more time, you may have to get little cute with it. So we'll see what they do. A lot of it just depends on George Kirby's timeline, but please hurry back. George Kirby, please hurry back. Let's look at the box score. Hancock goes 2 1/3, gives up 7 hits, 6 runs, all earned, 1 walk, no strikeouts. I don't know if Hancock had a single swing and miss today on any of his pitches. One of the outs was actually Kerry Carpenter getting picked off. So one of the outs wasn't even recorded by Hancock, the pitcher. It was Hancock, the fielder, essentially, who made the out. And there was a lot of loud contact. I think 4 or 5 of those balls were hit over 95 miles per hour. There were a couple bloops that fell in, but anytime a guy gets chased in the first inning, a couple bloops are going to fall in. He probably could have been out of that inning after 3 or 4 runs. But, that's also kind of the price you pay when you give up hard contact all over the place. So just a terrible performance. Came out of the first inning. Part of me almost wishes they just left him in, let him wear it, let him pitch 4 innings and throw 90, 95 pitches and then save the bullpen a little bit. But, man, it's like I'm probably piling on too much, but I mean, like I said, Vargas pitched his butt off today, and he might get DFA'd because of that, because Hancock couldn't even get out of the first inning. Listen, these starts do happen to everybody, but Hancock hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt yet, right? Like, if that was Logan, it happens. Castillo, Kirby, Miller, Wu, it does happen to, even the best. But Hancock hasn't earned it. He's got to be better, right? Like, he's got experience. It wasn't his first major league start. He's pitched for a couple years now in the big leagues. He can be better than that. So just a really, really just awful performance. He will be better if he makes another start. Like, you can't possibly, nobody's 81 ERA bad, but that was really, really a poor performance. Taylor Saucedo goes an inning and a third, 1 hit, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. I mean, 2 walks, 1 K isn't great, but, at that point, you're just trying to get through it, trying to keep the, the other team at 6-7 runs, and hopefully the bats can get back into it a little bit. Snyder goes an inning and a third, 3 hits, 2 runs, both third, and 1 walk, 1 K. I thought Vargas threw the ball really well, 3 2/3, 4 hits, 1 run. It was earned with 2 strikeouts. Like I said, I honestly, I thought a performance that should earn him a spot on the roster. Oddly enough, he kind of earned his roster spot with that performance, at least for me. Not that I have any say in any of this, but I would keep Vargas. I would probably send Hancock down, bring up another reliever, maybe send Saucedo down because he has an option. You have a lefty in Gabe Spire. It's not like Saucedo's a long man that you need. Like, he's not really a lefty specialist. Nothing against him. Love Sauce, but he's got an option. So I think that might be your 2 moves. I think you reward Vargas with that outing. I'm probably talking way too much about it, but I think that was, I think it would be kind of a bad look to DFA him after that. I don't like that. I think that's kind of doing him dirty a little bit. He given up 6-7 runs, then fine, but he didn't. He kept him in the game, and the offense did have a chance to get back into this. And then Bizzardo threw 2 innings, 3 hits, and a strikeout. So Bizzardo's a couple nice outings here after a rough first outing to start his season. So bullpen did pretty well. I mean, they still gave up 3 runs. But, I think they did enough to at least keep the team in the game. I'll be honest. I know Snyder gave up 2 runs. I think one of them, Sauce, gave up a hit, or one came in on someone else that came in for Snyder. I didn't doze off in the middle of this game, but, when you're watching a game, you're watching it, but you're not really processing anything that's happening. That was kind of me after the first inning. I got back into it a little bit when the offense put together a couple rallies. But I kind of zoned out a little bit there. So I really don't know if Snyder was bad or just some bloops fell in. I just kept hearing, there's a base hit. There's a base hit. Tigers had 18 hits today, man. Tigers continue to be a thorn in the Mariners' side. Let's look at the offense today. 9 strikeouts, 6 walks. They do have 8 hits, 6 runs. The offense was good today. They could have done more, but they also hit some hard hits that the Tigers made some plays on. Baez made a couple nice stops. Bliss had a fly ball that was hit with like the exact same exit velo as Randy's home run, and I think the exact same like distance, just wrong part of the ballpark. Cal had a line drive that was stung that would have led to a run right after he was robbed on a 3-0 pitch of a walk. So, yes, you want to see with more runners in scoring position, but I for an offense that's been scuffling, I can't really complain when they put up 6 runs. Victor Robles was 1 for 5. Julio was 2 for 5, had the triple and the RBI, or triple and a single and an RBI and a ground out. The triple, McKinstry drops it, kind of rolls underneath the stands there. I thought for a second it might be an inside the park home run. We'll take the triple. So good to see Julio, if anything, for his confidence, because he's gotten off to so many slow starts. I think every year he's actually gotten off to a slow start in his career. I don't remember 23 exactly how slow of a start he got off to. But I know his rookie year and then last year for sure. So if nothing else, just for his personal confidence, good to see him getting some base hits, even if it's like a bloop single or something like that, or, a walk, whatever it may be. Like I said, just for his confidence, his batting average up to 235, OPS 910. Again, we shouldn't be looking at OPS 5 games into the season. But again, for his confidence, I think a solid start for Julio. So good to see a couple extra base hits. Cal gets on the board with the 2-run home run in the 9th after the Julio single. Cal scuffling to start the year, so good to see the long ball and right-handed as well. He did have a line drive that was snagged by Torkelson, which I think would have put like first and second or second and third with nobody out in the inning. I don't remember which inning it was, but so good to see him sting the ball and get the home run. Hopefully that gets Cal going a little bit here. Polanco 1 for 5 with an RBI, had the double that scored after the Julio triple, that scored Julio after Julio's triple. He also had, I think, another at-bat where I thought he hit the ball pretty well. I think in the 7th or 8th inning, I thought it was going to get down for an RBI, but it didn't. Luke Raley goes deep. He has a nice game, 1 for 2, a solo home run, and 2 walks. He worked a really nice walk off of, was it Holton that came in, the lefty? Off of Holton in the 5th inning. That was a real nice at-bat, lefty on lefty from Luke Raley, and good to see the power from him. So a nice game for Luke. Excuse me. Rowdy Tellez, 0 for 3. Okay. Have not been impressed with Rowdy so far. Again, we're talking 12, 13 at-bats, but again, certain guys have the benefit of the doubt, right? I trust that Cal Raleigh's going to turn around. I trust that Julio's going to turn it around. I trust that, Luke Raley, though he doesn't need to turn it around, like I have a little bit more hope for a Jorge Polanco. He's had a history of being a really good hitter. Rowdy's had some nice years. He had a 35 home run year, but not looking good so far. Again, small sample. He is also a 3 for 3 away from being totally fine. Bottom of the 5th inning, it was 8-4. I believe. Let me pull up the play-by-play. I want to make sure I have the situation right. If I'm going to critique a decision, I need to have the facts straight before I do that. Bottom of the 5th. So Julio tripled. Cal strikes out. Randy strikes out. Polanco singles. Raley walks. First and second, 2 down. 8-4 game, lefty on the mound. Lefty has to stay in, face 3 batters. So you weren't going to get a pitching change if you went to a right-handed hitter. You have 3 righties on the bench. Dylan Moore, Donovan Solano, and Mitch Garver. Be clear, Solano's looked dreadful so far this season. Dylan Moore, numbers are okay, but I think it's been off a couple bloops. Garver's hit the ball pretty well, but again, we're talking about 5-6 at-bats. There is no guarantee if you pinch hit for Rowdy in that situation, those other guys come through. So I'm not going to say like, oh, how Dan cost them the game. Okay, that's not how it works. There is no guarantee that those. Holton's a pretty good reliever too. So he can get righties out as well. He's a pretty versatile reliever. So no guarantee those guys come through. I think you pinch hit for Rowdy in that situation, because then they pinch hit for him in the 8th inning when it's 9-4 with Dylan Moore. Like, if you're willing to pinch hit for Tellez, why not do it in the 5th? And you have 3 guys. It's not like you burn your big righty off the bench. And in that spot, 8-4, you're looking for someone to get into one. Garver's probably a better bet there than Tellez to do something against Holton. Would Garver have done anything? Probably not. It's a tough matchup. It's not like all three of those guys. It's not like you had three Alex Rodriguez's on the bench. But I think a spot where I would have pinch hit there. And I think I would have gone with Garver. You hope he gets into one or even puts one in the gap, and it's go over the fence 8-7 in the gap. It's 8-5, 8-6, and ball game on. So a little interesting there to leave Tellez in. Like I said, especially when you have three options. If there was only one, maybe I can get it a little bit, but you've got three righties that are probably a better bet than Tellez in that spot. Don't mind Luke Raley having the at-bat. I wouldn't mind seeing him get more chances against lefties this year, but I thought that was a spot where Dan should have gone to somebody else. But again, wouldn't matter if Emerson Hancock didn't, give up 6 runs in a third of an inning in this start anyways. But yeah, and overall, just not impressed with Tellez. We'll see how long of a leash he has on this roster. Dylan Moore pinched hit and struck out. Bliss was 0 for 3 with a walk. Bliss's numbers kind of coming down. I mean, again, 4 for 4 away from having great numbers, and he just missed that home run earlier in the game. We'll see if he maybe gets a day off tomorrow. Wouldn't shock me. And then JP was 0 for 2 with 2 walks. JP still drawing the walk, still getting on, but got to see some hits start to fall in for some of these guys as well. So better offensive today. Got to be better with runners in scoring position. Had some opportunities to probably get back in this game even more than they did. But I can't be too mad because, trust me, with this pitching staff, 6 runs is normally going to win you a lot of baseball games. So if they score 6 runs every game, they will be fine. And eventually they will hit better with runners in scoring position. They're not going to hit 100 all season with guys on base. And their opponents are not going to hit 500 with runners in scoring position all season, which is pretty much what the A's did. And the Tigers tonight were with runners on 6 for 14. So, I mean, essentially 2 teams have so far hit 500 against you with runners on. That's going to come down a little bit too. So now, again, this loss doesn't bother me too much because it's the reason they lost is pretty simple, and that's going to be hopefully fixed here very soon. But you do got to be careful in this series. Need Logan tomorrow. I think tomorrow's kind of low-key a big game. No, 2-5 doesn't eliminate them or anything like that, if they lose tomorrow and then lose to Skubal. But you are in danger here. Skubal's probably going to shut this offense down on Wednesday afternoon. And he lost his first start. I don't expect to see 2 bad Skubal starts back-to-back. So you're probably in danger of losing on Wednesday. You'd like to get tomorrow. Tomorrow feels like, again, not a must-win. There's no must-win yet, but feels like one you want to get before going into Wednesday. Who knows? Maybe they win on Wednesday. Baseball's funny. But, yeah, tomorrow feels like one you want to get. And tonight's kind of a shame, too, a little bit. Maybe I should say I'm a little more mad than maybe I should be a little bit more mad because had Hancock just gone like 4 1/3, 3 earned runs, maybe Job would have pitched a little differently. Who knows? But they were timing him up pretty well. Oh, I didn't mention Randy. I skipped over Randy in the box score. He was 2 for 4 with the home run and walk. I felt like I missed something. I was like, I thought the offense was better than the numbers I read off. Randy has been stinging the ball. If you saw that graphic before the game, his exit velos, even in some of his outs, he's hit a bunch of balls over 100 miles per hour. Randy is pretty dialed in. So really good to see. Hopefully Cal gets going as well because that'll be a big boost for this offense. But backtracking, yeah, I mean, Job could have pitched differently had the game been tighter. So it's not like the Mariners were guaranteed to get 6 runs. He might have pitched a little looser, given up a couple, gone more fastball, given up a few more runs. But if Hancock could have just 4 1/3, 4 2/3, 3 or 4 in runs, would have been in this game and would have had a chance to win it. So we're not asking him for a masterclass, just asking him to not be a total disaster, and he kind of was tonight. So from that aspect, I guess kind of maybe am a little more disappointed than I initially said, because this probably with this offensive performance was a winnable game. You probably win this game with any other starting pitcher for the Mariners on the mound. But unfortunately, you had your 6th starter on the mound. So that's frustrating. Hopefully the Bats can get it going against Casey Mize tomorrow. And Logan's on his game because, like I said, Wednesday's gonna be a tough one. So that's all I've got. Like, comment, subscribe. I will see you all tomorrow night for the post-game recap. As always, go Mariners. Peace.